How do I find safe and affordable housing for my loved one who has a disability? Now, if you're asking this question about safe and affordable housing, you're likely thinking about more ordinary home options for your loved one. And you're not necessarily thinking about a group home. And that's a good thing because a group home is not the best option for your loved one with a disability. And if you're thinking that what I just said of a group home not being the best option for your loved one is a bold statement, or you completely disagree with me, and if you're wondering like, why am I saying a group home is not best for your loved one? I've got another video on group homes that I've linked below in the notes that I really encourage you watch. It's gonna give you more perspectives on what the downsides of group homes are and what is better. So you can watch that video right after this one. So in this video right here, I've got 4 tips on safe and affordable housing for people that have an intellectual or developmental disability or autism. So let's dive into it. Tip number 1 is to start off by thinking about what does a best home look like for your loved one. You need to create a vision of what would be best. Because if we don't create a vision of what would be best, we just settle for whatever we can get. So I want you to think through what home actually means. What does home actually mean to your family? What does it mean to your loved one? When I think about what home means, home is my sanctuary to live and to grow. This includes having control of my home and my home environment. It includes having some privacy. Home means comfort. Home means having family in my home. So get clear and define what this looks like for your loved one, because these are criteria that you're gonna wanna satisfy when creating that home with your loved one. Tip number 2 is linked to tip number 1, and it's to consider all of the ordinary housing options that people live in, and I want you to add what you think would be the best option for home to your loved one's vision around home. So those ordinary options, just think about, someone your loved one's age. What are the ways that they are living? It could be renting an apartment. It could be living with a neurotypical friend or a roommate. And yeah, note, having a roommate makes things more affordable, right? If we're thinking about affordability. It could be living with another family member and more. There's many different ways that people live. So I want you to start considering what are the ways people live and add that into your vision. Again, when you have a vision of where you're going, it's going to make it easier to get there rather than just accepting, the standard options that might be available for people that have a disability, which are often not very good. And again, you can link to that video on group homes down below and watch why I suggest that group homes are not a good option for your loved one. Okay, tip number 3 is to research and apply for affordable housing options in your city. You can do this just by a simple Google search. So it could be, right in your city, affordable housing or subsidized housing or rent geared to income housing. Try all those different searches and you will find what you are looking for. And I invite you to do this now because there's often a waiting list to access this type of support. So do the research, get on those waiting lists now. And even if you're like, I have no interest in that type of housing, affordable housing, subsidized housing for my loved one, it's just not good. That might be the case. Even if that is the case for you, I do recommend that you still get on those wait lists. Why? Because it gives you a future option. It gives you an option to, it could be 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road to consider what might be available. And even if you don't like what's available right now in terms of affordable housing options or subsidized housing options in your area, the good news is in 5 years, in 10 years, those options might change and there might be better options. And by doing the work now, you're paying yourself a huge favor forward in the future. Okay. And if you want more help on thinking about home for your loved one, I invite you to download my free Life Planning 101 guide. That's going to help you think through creating a holistic life plan for your loved one that considers all key elements of their life, including home. So you can click the link below and get your free copy down in the notes. Tip number 4, we have been talking all about affordability, but this video is about affordability and safety. So tip number 4 is about safety. So how do you determine, how do you create a safe home for your loved one? Okay, so to do this, you need to determine your loved one's vulnerabilities. And once you've determined what your loved one's vulnerabilities are, you can start to safeguard them. Okay, so you need to get more specific than just like safety. Okay, so I want you thinking about what are your loved one's actual vulnerabilities? So is it letting strangers in the front door? Well, if it is, you can start to work on that vulnerability now by teaching your loved one front door safety and how to safely open the door or not open the door. It could be also implementing things like using assistive technology, like maybe a front door camera, to assist with those interactions if needed. The key here around safety is to get really specific on each element of safety and the specific vulnerability that your loved one has. So if it's front door safety, or if it's leaving the home, or if it's using the stove, whatever it is, get specific on it, and then you can safeguard each one of those specific vulnerabilities. And that's really how you start to address safety. So these are 4 steps that you can start taking action on to create the best home for your loved one. So step number 1, thinking about what the best home looks like for your loved one, what home means to your loved one, right? Step number 2 is to think about the ordinary home options for your loved one and create a vision for that that's going to guide you forward. Step number 3 is to investigate and get on subsidized or low-income housing lists, and to understand what those options are, get on wait lists if there are wait lists. Step number 4 is thinking through safety and your loved one's vulnerabilities, and you can start to take action on those things right now, okay? So these 4 tips are gonna help you consider safe and affordable housing options for your loved one and allow you to make progress on it, even if this is something you're thinking about 5 or 10 years in the future. And if you want more help on this, again, I invite you to download my free life planning 101 guide that's gonna guide you through creating a holistic life plan for your loved one, considers all the key elements of your loved one's life, including home. So you can scroll down, click the link below, and get your free copy. Again, you've got this. I'm Eric Goll. Together, let's keep taking small steps forward.